Welcome to another episode of Empty the Clip Podcast. My name is Josh Beaker, and thank you for tuning in. Today's episode, we're going to talk about a year in review of COVID, how it's affected my life, and talking about some life experiences and how it may be similar to you. Some thoughts on the pandemic. I don't want to make this political, but just from viewing some things and giving my own 2 cents about the disease, and how I think it's negatively affecting the country and the world in full. And hopefully how things can shape out in the next few months so we can get past everything and resume normal life. So I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the episode. So starting with things, COVID-19. Early January of 2020, I was in an epidemiology class at Randolph-Macon, and I was in my capstone for biology. That's like the last class you take to kind of sum everything up that you've been doing for your major. And my major was biology, a minor in chemistry. So it was a very hot topic that we talked about before we were sent home, which was on March 21st of 2020, my birthday. I packed up all my crap, and I went back home, moved in. The family, because gyms were closed in Maryland, because Maryland was very, very strict with their rules, and they still are very strict with their rules. There was no gyms opening, or they were closing for that time being, because we didn't know how long it was going to be. But the family started a home gym. It was a couple stall mats from Tractor Co. Supply. My parents already had a couple barbells that they were using at the gym, and they had some weights that the gym let them borrow, kettlebell, a plyo box to jump on, and that was about it. It was very basic, very simple, and a year later, so a year and a couple weeks, we have a full squat rack, pull-up bars, numerous pieces of cardio equipment, sandbags, push sled, jump ropes, all the little accessory things you'd need for like band work or things to assist your workouts on a day-to-day basis. That aren't as critical. Oh, we also have a full set of dumbbells. I'm just looking over to my right to see else what we have. The crossover symmetry for your scaps and shoulders, wonderful tool. Some medicine balls, and I think kettlebells, 35, 50, and 70. So a pretty good stack of stuff. Oh, and we have a bench, so we can do some bench pressing, which has been a main focus of mine in the past a little bit for strength. But back to the whole COVID thing. That's our gym currently, a year later. It didn't start that way, but it was cool to see the progress of it building as gyms weren't reopening, and we didn't really want to wear a mask. So we took it into our own hands of, okay, if we don't want to go out and wear a mask, we can just stay home and we can work out here at the house, and that's what we did. As we just, I'm not a huge proponent of the masks. I don't like it. I feel like it really does restrict my breathing and my quality of air, if anything. I wouldn't say it restricts my breathing, but it definitely restricts the quality of air that I'm taking in, especially if you don't wash it, which I've been lacking in, or just having to constantly change masks. I feel like I'm inhaling like the surgical mask. I'm inhaling the little like fibers and stuff, so I'm not a huge fan of it. So I just try not to put myself in those situations where I have to wear a mask as much as possible. So yeah, we were home a lot working out. I've been doing and training CrossFit for a full year now, and it's been amazing to see my progress. If you've been keeping up in the open, I finished in the top like 1 or 2% in the world, which was super dope. Really, really happy with that. I think it was like 2,000th out of 130,000, 140,000 people that did it. So I was really, really pleased with my performance. I worked really, really hard, and it was awesome to see. What quarantine did for me was really help me zone in on training specifically for one thing, and I got some good results. So I'm excited to see what another year of that training does. Hopefully not in quarantine, but another year of CrossFit under my belt for the 2022 Open. So we will see, to be determined. Another thing with quarantine is, the little bit of fear. Like, we didn't know what was going on. And when I first saw stuff from like China and across the ocean, people were passing out and dying. Like, I was just seeing videos on like social media and stuff. So I thought this was really, really serious. But a year later, I'm not saying it's not serious. Actually, I am. I don't think it is as serious as they make it out to be on the media. I think the media construes a lot of stuff, and they want to make it blown up as this crazy, deadly disease where you might not even know if you have it. We're pretty sure my brother had it in January. He was feeling super crappy and had all the symptoms. He lost his sense of smell and taste for months. This is January of 2020 when we got back from Mexico. He came back and he's like, guys, I can't smell. He felt like crap for a couple days, and we were worried about him. We thought he had the flu. Not saying it is the flu. And then in July, the whole family, well, not the whole family, but 2 people contracted it and tested positive. Again, it was my brother who tested positive, strangely, and it was my stepsister. And then the whole family kind of felt icky for a couple days. Nothing crazy, no complications. We are all healthy individuals with a couple comorbidity factors. I'm not going to disclose their medical information, but a couple people in the family we were worried about, but they are fine. We all work out. We eat really, really well. We take care of our bodies, and we do what we do. And because of that, I think COVID didn't really affect us if it was throughout the household, which we expect it was because 2 people were tested positive, even though some of the tests, I believe, aren't as accurate as they could be. And you could get either a false positive or maybe they actually did have it. So I don't think COVID is fake. I don't think it's a hoax. I think COVID is a real thing. I just think the severity of the disease is not as bad as they say it is. Because you can get the flu and survive. You can get other diseases and survive. I just don't think it's as bad as it is. Simple as that. Another thing with COVID too is I think there's a lot, and we're going to talk a little bit more on the mental side of things. I think people aren't getting that community feel, and it's affecting their mental side. Like a lot of groups that we are attached to, I didn't realize how important this was. But humans are very social creatures, and not having the ability to interact with others was a huge thing. Like I went through little bouts of like mini depressions and like mentally fatigued because I didn't see my friends, because I didn't want to get them sick or get myself sick selfishly. I just felt like I was a little bit alone. I mean, I was with my family, of course, but like that interaction is so important. And so many individuals, I'm blessed to like have people now who like, you know, they want to go out and interact, and we take our precautions, we wash our hands, and we still hang out and we still talk. Like there's not all my friends, but you know, a large majority of who my main group is. Not a lot of people. I'm just saying like the main group that I hang out with. Like I have like 5 core friends that I hang out with, and that's who I stick with. But, you know, I think many people who either are scared or living in fear, again, because of the media, are subjecting themselves to being more isolated, being more introverted, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's affecting your mental health, I think that's a really big issue that's not being talked about enough. And with the lockdowns and people not being able to, again, meet with your groups, I think it's really, really messing people up. I see a lot of I get a lot of depressing direct messages on Instagram and TikTok about people like, dude, my mental side, like I'm just not feeling like, I'm just like, they just feel like they're just living the same day over and over again, or they feel like life is just like not what it should be, and it's not. I don't think that we should be locked down as much as we are. We have vaccines out, a lot of herd immunity, and again, I'm not a doctor, so you can take my opinion for what it is, but I want to take this little snapshot and put it on the record of where I stand with COVID. And if you disagree with me, you're more than welcome to. We can have a debate about this. We can, you know, if you want to, message me. We can Zoom call it out, and we'll record that, and we'll talk about it. Again, not a doctor. I'm just saying there's some things that I see with this that I don't agree with 100%, and I think it's making me upset, and I'm getting not emotional about it, but I want to make a point about it because I really do believe it is messing people up. And here's the thing, too. If people were actually scared of this disease, they wouldn't go outside. If it was Ebola and people were dying at a 50% mortality rate, I would not be going outside. With COVID, if it's a 99.99% survival rate for people who are healthy, does not have a lot of comorbidities, you're going to be fine. And what you find too is that these people who are the government who tells us to stay inside and not go to the gym and not be active and not be healthy and wearing a mask, you're promoting people to become more obese, more sedentary, and that's a comorbidity that I think it really impacts how you can fight and fend off COVID. You're beating up your immune system, and you're beating up your body's physical state so you can't fight off the disease. I think that's a huge problem right now, along with the mental aspect of things with COVID. So there's my 2 cents on that. Where we are now as a family with COVID, I think that we've bonded extremely well. We are a tight-knit crew, and you really see, I think, that's going to be very helpful for us moving forward past COVID. I thought the family was already pretty much on the same page, but I think that, you know, we didn't have, what's it called? When you're, cabin fever. Like, we weren't, like, antsy to, like, kill each other living inside this house for that long, or for a long time, a year later. And I think that we get a well pretty long. Excuse me. We get along pretty well. Jeez, sorry about that. We get along pretty well, and the flow of how I've started a career as a construction estimator. My fiance is working in enterprise. Everyone's got their things that they're doing, and the flow of the family household with multiple people living in it, it's working pretty well. So it's been a good transition. Haven't felt like I missed much. I really feel like my life hasn't changed a whole lot. I have changed a lot mentally and physically as a human being and spiritually. But really, I think life hasn't changed too much. I've tried to keep things really the same as it's been. It just feels weird that wearing a mask, and that's becoming more normalized, where it shouldn't feel like a normal thing. Like, you shouldn't be wearing a mask outdoors if you are around nobody. But I think masks could potentially help. But again, it has to be a certain type of mask. It can't just be like the cloth diaper that you wear on your face that I don't think works too well if you can breathe out the side of it and stuff. But that's just me. Yeah, that's about COVID in a nutshell. Again, life hasn't changed too much. If you're healthy, I think you'll be majority okay. And if you lost anybody to COVID, I'm sorry. Again, it can drastically affect people differently, but I guarantee you there's probably other comorbidities that are attached to those people who suffered harshly from COVID. And I'm not saying that's their fault, but in majority of cases, if you're obese or if you have some other circumstance that allows your immune system to not be top tier and fight off the disease, it may be on you. So for what it is, I hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you guys are remaining healthy, exercising, eating well, drinking lots of water. And yeah, I hope your guys' mental state's okay too. I hope when you guys listen to this, you realize that it's not just you going through things. Seriously, I went through some very deep bouts of short stints of depression where I felt like, dude, my life is awful when it's not. And I was like, whoa, holy cow, what is happening to me mentally? I'm getting destroyed, or I'm destroying myself. And once I can see through that lens of you know what, life is pretty great. I still have great people around me, and trying to find again that community sense. So I started going to the gym again and met some really cool guys. That helped me out. And then I stopped interacting as much with my community online. And when I helped myself, how I helped myself is interacting more with you guys, and I hope to continue to do that. So keep shooting me DMs, keep shooting me messages. I hope to respond as much as possible. And thank you guys for listening to this episode of Empty the Clip podcast. This is Josh Beaker signing off. Have a great day. Peace.